Jamie Vine has 18 years service office experience. He progressed through the ranks of MWB to become the managing director of one of their brands, and during his tenure, he was architect of their partnership division, in which he delivered 20% incremental growth year on year. He arrived in Perth in July 2010, developed a plan, secured funding, and launched Liberty Executive Offices a year later. Today, the business has 3 floors in Perth CBD, a turnover of over 4 million, and big plans for the future. Please welcome Jamie.
Thank you. I guess, like some of my colleagues, I didn't actually even get to university. I didn't drop out. I just didn't get there. I left school in the late 80s in Sheffield, from Yorkshire, in the UK, and went straight out selling fax machines. And for those of you old enough to remember when fax machines came out, not many people had them in 1986, and they all thought they were great, but they said, who am I going to fax? Which was an interesting sales conundrum, I can tell you. I got to Australia, as was said, in July 2010, and having 18 years, or at the time, 14 years experience in the serviced office industry. Well, the key's in the name, it's service. And service is something that Rick mentioned. But the way I view service in my industry is I very much try and focus on the people. Because I think it's Richard Branson said, if you look after your people will look after your clients. And one thing that became really clear to me as I grew with the business in London was that I couldn't do everything. I couldn't be everywhere, and I couldn't be the one speaking to the clients on a regular basis, unfortunately. So that kind of took me down 2 roads, because I'm also very passionate about focusing on core business and what's important to actually making your business successful. And actually the two intertwine quite neatly, because what I've found is if you understand what somebody's core competencies are, they're generally the things you employ them for. What many businesses do is fail to allow people to actually use those skills as often as they should, and they get bogged down in bureaucracy or reporting or admin or whatever it is that is not really the reason you employed them. And I've found if you give people the opportunity to spend a lot more time doing what they're good at, and maybe delegate or outsource parts of that role that aren't necessarily core, you actually end up with a much happier employee. You end up with something much more productive and efficient as a business engine, if you like. And ultimately the client wins because they see happy, buzzing, really buoyant employees. And really people and core business are my 2 thought things for tonight. Thank you.